towards a Thatcher ban, as there is quite a lot of breaching to be done on some of these sites, or, well, maybe you could go for a bit more of a counter ban. I would assume that maybe a Vigil would even be on the way from TSM's side.
It's an option, but I think they require it too much. Zero being removed, it's a good takeaway. It's quite a big pickup around Chalet. It has...
Especially NA teams.
Especially NA teams. It's obviously the amount of SAM cams that you can kind of set yourself up for in those holds and those situations. Maverick going, yeah, it's a pretty... I guess
understandable.
You're limiting the amount of frag grenades, which was obviously a very good resource in the pockets of FaZe, but you're removing a hard destructor. Valk, always a good ban on a map like this. Always a good ban against Latin American teams that are synonymous with playing Valk and doing big, terrifying things with it.
Especially when their information game is already that good. You don't want to give them more information.
The MPX in the hands of a Latin American player
plus 10 damage
is different to every other region's MPX.
Everybody's going to be like a pea shooter, but LATAM, just like the SMG, they have some of the best SMG players there is in the world. Just not fair, you'd almost say. Either way, round number 1 is going to be happening, and now we finally get to see what side is going to be picked first. It's FaZe that starts off on the defense, and this is also where we get to see what way it's going to be going, because Chalet is still developing as a map. Now, overall, I believe it is still attack-sided.
Yeah, NA loves Bar. I know that one. And that's the strange thing. And I think that was a bit of a culture shock for a lot of NA supporters and analysts as well, was it really hasn't had a great success on the grander stage of things yet. It's
31%
really,
win rate.
Yeah, it's really struggled when it's up against other regions. But inside NAL, I believe statistically, that's the best defensive site.
Could just as well be. But right now, Chalet overall, a 42% win rate in every single round that has been played so far. And for those of you wondering how many rounds have been played, how big the sample size is, well, that is a total of 93 rounds. So this will be our 94th round of Chalet of the Six Invitational. And let's see whether or not it is going to be a successful one on Kitchen Dining here, which is statistically the best site so far. On SI, that is, not for NA, because we already discussed that. That will be Bar Gaming.
Now, TSM opting to start on their attacks does go with the line that in NA, this is an attacker-sided map. This is an attacker favorite map. It's one where they've been able to find more success, but against the rest of the world, that's not always the likely story. So FaZe are likely quite happy with how this is going to go off. We've already just seen them have a bit of a masterclass in terms of their defenses on Coast. They were able to consistently manipulate a lot of the play space, as we said before, and seen the drones, the way that TSM were trying to enter. FaZe often had a response to it very quickly. So let's see TSM...
Beautiful C4.
Well, I was going to say, let's see TSM try and get the entrance here, but yet again, we're back on Coast, and we're back in the world of C4s on Windows.
Yeah, the C4s are flying out, and that's the entry here for Astro. I was going to highlight, just look at the setup of FaZe. There is a mute, there is an echo, there is going to be the electro class to deal with as well, and Thatcher is available, however, is not being picked up by TSM so far. So that might change the further we head into this half, as well, they might start to struggle to clear out some of this utility and some of the denial that is placed on these walls. Also, quickly look at the holes that have been created. So if they start jumping in from Trophy, surely they will be punished straight away by any of the FaZe members that are watching.
Well, Bullets passing on the good word that there's a man just around the other side of this window as Bolo goes for a bit of a rotation deep and underneath. They've been able to cut off an angle of surprise here, but as the drones steadily wear away, there's still a lot of movement in the guns of FaZe. He goes for the swing, but Astro has the cover and has a triple all from the stairs. Suddenly, FaZe is absolutely taking it in there. Well,
that is a very quick round out of nowhere. It started off with that Nitro, and then Bolo wanted to go aggressive, lets himself be known as he shoots in from West Main, trying to get the kill down onto the smoke, I believe it was. But as a result, he enables Astro to quickly pick up that kill. It's just a very good setup right there, because as soon as you can get the angle on the smoke that's playing there, is the exact moment you set yourselves free to be shot down from the trophy stairs. So beautiful, beautiful play there by FaZe. A very, very convincing first round. I don't think TSM had a clue about what happened there.
Astro, was he holding the angle? So he was already holding the angle. That was razor sharp there, just in the moment. And then the drop round on the opposite side.
Oh.
Every entrance, every single place that TSM thought that they'd found a bit of ground, there's the expression of a guy that says, what are you doing?
It's like every other day in the office, you know?
It played perfectly into FaZe's holds. You said the angle that they had from the bottom of the solarium stairs right the way across towards where Bolo was trying to swing round. They were in positions to strike, and that's why as soon as that push came down, the round was over in a blink.
It is, and I am worried, however, if TSM have to go back to that side. They haven't really had to deal with all the angles. They just dealt with one of them now. Now, there was also these angles located on the trophy window, so a jump in from there would have been punished for sure by the member that was playing in kitchen or dining. Of course, that is not going to be the site that we're approaching now. No, we are playing on that top floor onto the master and office site. This cameraman that will drop first, though. Merc able to pick up the kill onto the castle. Not going to be able to put down any new castle barricades if they would be ripped down by a teammate, for example. That's an opening that TSM will very gladly take.
Well, a bit of a false start, I think it's fair to say, but look again at this thread of players. Merc is trying to dig himself in on the core of this bar. Charla has the entrance on lobby side as well, on the sort of top annex there, so he's not entirely isolated, but he can't swing anywhere. He tries to go one way, he's going to be dropped by the body on side blue, but Cyber gives him the reward there, and you could see the instant disappearance of the man with the cover. He said, well, my number's done. I don't need to be here anymore because what I'm trying to protect is already dead. So Merc finds them another way. Dropped, though. The cross swing round on the little annex connector as there's the body on the door. Charla held himself on fireplace, as I said, with the protection from those back stairs on the backside of the bar, and they've been able to get him up, and now it's Souls on a sliver of health. I don't know if it's the sort of thing you can put money on, but I feel like this game's about to heat up, as probably is all chat.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm already feeling what the all chat is about to come into as Souls here, the one-man standing, is about to get a lot of pressure here. Spots have to go. You can go for the wallbang. No, he misses everything. And a flawless round of FaZe is being responded to by a flawless round of TSM. And 1-1 we go. And now FaZe after going this aggressive, really had no need to. Is Merc basically just entering games, picking up the kill there, moving through the bar, into the fireplace, up the fireplace stairs until he found a third and was shut down, but not completely. Allowed to live and continue on fighting, and then a flawless round after a flawless round. Only 10 kills so far in total over these two teams in the 2 rounds we've played.
Okay, FaZe, you are human, you are mortal. That's something that you've learned, and now you got to see if you can step yourself up here because, well, it's the old conversation. Do you type in old chat?
I mean, I'm from the Benelux, so I'm going to tell you no, because that doesn't end up well.
I mean, it's proof of the region, but it's also proof of, GG, never type in chat again.
Yeah, it is, a little bit. It's a bit like karma, right? As soon as you start typing in and it goes the other way around. It just feeds some teams. Let's put it like
TSM are a team that gets fed by that.
Yeah, it's like that's their energy. You type in Ultra and they will start waking up to saying this is team right there. Either way, round number 3, and we're going to the same site because FaZe was being caught off by Merc, who was able to pick up 3 kills without being punished whatsoever. So something they have to change here is to make sure that they're not giving away these 3 kills for free without even putting up a challenge.
It's also the first attack round we've seen TSM take over this best of 3. They weren't able to lock any when they were attacking onto Coastline. Here, very early on, crucially, they've been able to break that momentum instantly. They've been able to say, we are going to take this map. We're not going to start to pull away into the pressure here as they're again setting themselves up for this bit of a wider take. They haven't gone with the same positioning phase. They've pulled away from the kitchen by the looks of it. They're making sure that they're more stacked on side and on site towards this extension here. It's the shotgun round the corner that gets popped by Merc, who yet again finds himself into the action very quickly, cuts off the loose man, and now Charla is the one that needs a bit of support, but Cameraman is next under the bar, being dropped from either side. Bullet finds Bolo, but Gio gets that response and revenge as he slips his way across the mezzanine to find just something closer to sight, as FaZe has to pull back.
Very early aggressive start here from either side, explosive. As 3 men have died in the first couple of seconds of this round. Now, it is up to FaZe to try and slow this down as much as they can, because they are only with 3 people left, and they still need to waste a full 90 seconds if they want to win this on the back of time. And thus, TSM putting up some pressure right now. Cyber has the opportunity to go back on a flank if he feels like it, but it seems like he will be joining the rest of the team, moving up from Solarium stairs.
Yeah, it's the one loose body, but look at Achieve making his way
the wall
underneath,
bang!
but Merc bangs Souls and takes him out of the box as they start to coalesce around that point of pressure. It's going to get popped open, and Cyber desperately has to try and find his way back to site to offer some support here back towards this onslaught that's coming from TSM. One body over the piano trying to just hold on, but the way they pinch their pressure, he digs deep and gets bitten by K9 Corner as suddenly everything is starting to pull away from FaZe. Bullet swings and finds one in amongst the madness as the diffuser gets planted, gets the second onto piano to make his third, but Charla has the lockdown and TSM have advantage.
Watching the angle down there into piano, given enough time to try and get that defuse down on the ground, but it wasn't necessary in the end. The kill coming through, and again, FaZe being punished by the very explosive early start of the round. They're left without anybody to try and deny and to try and defend. As Kitchen Dining is again on the board.
There's the mouse spin.
There is the mouse spin. The famous, the infamous Bolo mouse spin.
I hope.
Many will be trying to recreate it.
An amazing setup in terms of the replays, the camera angles, all of that stuff for this playoffs.
Just for the mouse spin. That's the only reason why we put up these chems. As you saw that beautiful shot there from Bullet, by the way. Able to pick up 2, but just the amount of wallbangs. This one was so dirty from Merc, though. Just decided to start spraying and
sprayed an angle and got rewarded for it.
Got rewarded for it. This is why you wallbang these positions, because you never know if you're going to be able to find anyone. Either way, we're underway with the next round. As actually, we're not. I thought we were.
A quick rehost. As we get ourselves back in to the lobby. But TSM, I mean, this is a bit of a welcome reprieve for FaZe. After everything that's sort of happened over this game so far, they hit the ground running. They've been able to put themselves into this 2-1 situation after what was a terrifying opening for any TSM fans. FaZe had this lockdown. They had all the angles. They had all of this damage that they were able to manipulate and play so well.
Yeah.
Before, TSM thought they had an entrance, but it was mousetrap. They had everything pulled out from underneath them and dropped over the top of them. And then we get these 2 rounds in response. We get Merc going big as he digs his way through underneath. We get, obviously, the cover is coming through. Charla has Fireplace locked down, has K9 when he needs to have it in the next round. It's just suddenly such a step up from TSM.
That's the thing, right? Like, the way that FaZe at round 1 locked down underneath them, it was TSM that basically had 2 and 3 under control when they were attacking that top floor. Really not having the biggest struggles there, because FaZe was just tossing the bodies at them, and they were able to lock them out, get the kills. Of course, a wallbang in there as well, able to land a beautiful shot. But with that, we're going to soon be underway again, and it is going to be Chalet, and we will be going back to the kitchen and dining boom site. As mentioned, that was the site that was going very well for them. Let's see if they can keep that up, as we will soon be returning up there. The question, however, will be, FaZe is playing on the Chalet. The Chalet is currently a 40% win rate for defenders.
Yeah.
So if they manage to get 2 rounds, it is not the worst.
It's in line.
Yes, but if they manage to get 3, suddenly it's like, that's pretty good. That is a good exit off that half. So that is something they definitely will be aiming for. However, if your top floor just basically doesn't exist due to you throwing everybody you can find at TSM, hoping you win the gunfights, and it doesn't go your way, like, we haven't really seen the setup being tested. And no. I'm not sure if that is the setup to try and be aggressive.
Yeah, I know. And that's, I guess, what I'm thinking as well is the holds that we've seen on Bedroom, which can be not formulaic, it's the wrong word, but it can be very structured. It can be very solid. It can be a lot of teams, you know, defaults in terms of the holds that we see. Especially in EU, you'll have, you know, holds inside the bathroom, potentially a shield there to look towards Solarium, then the cover from Piano if you need it on the rotation. A lot of teams play Castle to give themselves more structure on that top site. So far from FaZe, they've tried to take the fights elsewhere. They've tried to have this momentum where kitchen stays theirs and the dining space stays theirs, so vertical can't be got. TSM aren't really fussed about the vertical. We've seen them put pressure there to get a kill, but there's no need. Exactly. They're able to take enough bodies where they're satisfied to go, okay, now we'll take box. We don't have to get underneath. We don't have to try and, you know, play with frag grenades underneath or drop electronics on the walls or shepherd them away from the holds. They're happy to take the fights. For now, we're winning them.
I'm a bit worried, though, because when you check in FaZe's setup for the top floor, I believe the side of box isn't even reinforced in either of those rounds. They'll do the K9 side, but not the side that is aiming towards the library hallway. And that is where, of course, a kill came through. So you might be willing to at least reinforce one of them to at least have a little bit of safe space to play around. Of course, that will be up to them to decide after round 4 is done. But now the big question will be, as we are heading back into that site that was so convincingly won by FaZe, are they going to be able to redo that? Or is TSM able to, at the short time they actually spent looking at this site, come up with a quick strategy to try and find out the weaknesses, make sure they can exploit them? Because there hasn't been a tactical timeout. The coach hasn't been allowed to talk to the team, so there's no way that he will be impacting what is going to be happening here. So it needs to come from the players itself. And if they just have not seen a situation like this before, it might be a difficult ask.
5 seconds to go.
Obviously, it opened last time with the C4 on the Solarium windows.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been a worse way to come back into this map because it was this pressure of this is how they were doing it before, but also we've dropped the entry in a situation we couldn't even trade it. Now we're seeing a little bit more of a caution approach here from TSM. They're obviously going for the same pressure onto the windows. There's Astro in the same place on the Solarium stairs, the trophy stairs. But they're not going to throw themselves at it as directly you assume this time. Potentially going to head over the top, see if they can get a little bit more of a lockdown on the piano windows, maybe towards K9. Get a little bit more of a safer control before they go for the pinch, because that's where TSM have been doing well, is the slightly wider approach on Chalet that it offers that they never had the option to on Coast.
I was going to say, just take box control, make sure you deal with the electroclaw that is placed on the actual spots, and with that you allow yourself to go for a breach from Fireplace. That would be the whole way and the whole setup that will just completely bypass anything FaZe has set up for the whole trophy situation. So keep that in mind, as it looks like TSM is looking to fight themselves throughout that. Of course, box control will be one they're willing to take as a result, and of course piano as well. And as there is 4 members all around this place, surely will happen.
Wow, the drone's dropped as soon as it swings around the corner, but a second isn't too far away. Cyber, though, goes for a spray just to give a bit of a warning and say, well, I'm here, which means they might need to play a bit of a focus. Pops the charge on the side. He's in a position to put some pressure around, and that allows Achieved to do this, bounce the grenade, and doesn't hit the shield on the top of piano, but you can see that they actually pull back. Bullet goes back into the bathroom, but there's one more body on the cover on the bathroom window. Cyber is going to be the first point of concern here. There's one body underneath, and Geo is able to pop open this box wall here and allow themselves just this approach, this ingress and pressure on Cyber, who is sticking in for all that he's worth. The C4 over the top does connect with Merc, gets the entrance. It's a similar fashion to how they did the first with it. It's a C4, but everything else is different now as he's going to try and become this point of pressure, wants to creep steadily further and go for the close swing, but nobody's home. In fact, you might have a rough idea on where they're going to come through next. It's the mezzanine, potentially.
Seems like they are aware yellow pinks are coming out. No, they're not. Cyber picks up a kill and cameraman will follow. A 5v2 situation is what's left, and TSM, again, is struggling to take control of this side. It again starts off with a C4 that finds its target, and as Geometric is trying to go aggressive right now, he spots out the player, but he doesn't win the gunfight. Jala will, however, trade. Bring it back to a 4-on-1. Going to be denying the flawless round right here, but he's not going to be able to do much more than that. Bullet picks up the final one, and that means FaZe are able to equalize the scoreline. But now their nemesis is coming up. the next bomb
A
site.
site that is in kitchen. And I'm curious to see if we go back to bedroom, because obviously you have options, but
Like bar.
outside they're not great. We're going to see bar, which is it's a good one for NA teams in terms of the defenders, but it also gives them a lot of practice in terms of attack, because it's the one where it's the problem for attackers. So you'll spend a lot of time problem solving. You'll spend most of your time seeing if you can find the way through. If you're confused as to why we don't see Snowmobile too much, it is statistically the worst site across every region.
Yeah. I'm going to check if that's also the case for SI, but, it should be. Ooh, actually, 42% win rate compared to the 31 of bar. So
wow.
Snowmobile has been doing a little bit better, but it only has been played 12 times compared to the 32. So maybe it is by some teams who are feeling very comfortable in that one. But the big issue with Snowmobile is that it is just hard to extend.
Yes.
There is almost no possibility of extending. The only thing you can really do is go for a bit of a top floor roam and try and hold them off as long as you can there, but then they will just hit you directly and there is nothing you can do. So it is a difficult site. Whereas here, what you will often see is that extension to the top floor. You see people in library. You see the shield on top of the blue stairs in the back, which allows them to challenge the box and the hallway towards piano if they would be to peek that door.
Yeah, entirely right. It's the extensions, the limitations. It's when you see this map played modern by a lot of modern teams, it's the big across the top two floors. It's the giant L shape, and you try and get as much as control across it. Yep. And if you don't, you open up angles that give you control across it. You make things uncomfortable for a lot of this big L. And as you said, you don't have that anywhere else. Immediately above the site is a big, terrifying open space, where if you want to hold that, you have to be on the top floor and you have to be aggressively moving. But if you dedicate fully up there, then a lot of teams will be able to just push around Trench and push around Garage, where it's very hard to get any direct counter to them. There's a hatch you can go around the backside of it. There's a single staircase to try and ram yourself through, but it's not easy. It's not malleable to that sort of game and that sort of gain. And the Clash as an adaptation here, it's a decision whether they're going to see if they can, I guess, offer a bit of a rebuff, put a little bit of a stick in the spokes.
I get why.
Of TSM's approach. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
It is like you have a shield on that top floor, and surely they're going to try and take care of that. There is going to be, hopefully, an ADS that will be making sure that the shield is not going to be cleared as quickly, but you don't have that on that bottom floor, on the first floor. So you play that Clash there to make sure that it is basically in no man's land. You're not really allowed to try and contest that, and we might see cameramen rotating upwards as soon as they take care of the deployable shield, and they know it's going to be safe. Smoke canisters, however, will be used, trying to deny Geo from using the exothermic, but will fail to do so, and that means box has been opened up. But look at Bullet, though, playing from the shield here in a very tight angle, knows one could be on the roof, and Achieved is holding it very patiently right here, waiting for the support to come in. They had a shield, they knew exactly where it's coming from. Flashbangs are being tossed in, they're trying to get the grenade in to make sure that the shield will drop. The question, however, will be if that will succeed.
Now, how can they try and turn some of this into that first pick that's become so precious for them? Look at the difference in FaZe, though. They're making sure that they're not the first off the board. It's all of that zapping. It's all of that mobile cover. I talked about the extension around the corner of the L with those angles, and that is what Clash is allowing. She's letting them have this swing round, this sort of guessing game of where are they going to pop through next? Where is the cover going to come from next? And Souls, he goes for a C4 out the window, but Achieved, he says, I'm going to read you like the books all around here. Creeps his way round, looks away at the worst possible second, somehow wins it. Bolo, in the meantime, and Merc find one apiece. Clash is gone, and FaZe has absolutely crumbled here. But with only 20 seconds left, it's all down to Astro to see if he can lock himself in. No chance! And TSM gets a flawless.
A flawless one yet again. And they were doing so well on the likes of FaZe, but it was Achieved that just managed to get that first kill, jumped in, and was able to find more as a result. Because at the moment that you lose that library control, it suddenly becomes a lot harder to deal with the whole site. Because then it is going to be an attacker coming from that side, which you would assume was going to be your safe space. And then you suddenly have to try and make sure that you're not being vulnerable to two different angles. And by doing so, you'll enable them to shoot you from the other. So there we have it. That is the way that TSM was able to shut them down. And there is going to be a rerun. FaZe is going to be deciding to go to bar gaming again, and it is going to be a similar operator lineup. But what I think they will do is that they will move some of these frost mats to the top floor, to the actual library. So in case they do lose the control of it, because what you see right here, Chief picking up one, then going aggressive on the back, taking care of the frost, and at that point, you get all the crossfires in the hands of the attackers. So by moving up some of these frost mats, you might be allowed to keep a bit longer of the hold onto library.
Okay, FaZe, things have started to slip a little bit away from you, and that TSM has learned how to pull pieces out of the puzzle that you're putting forward. You're still wanting to have this aggressive, we are going to meet you and face you where you enter game style. They went with the adaptation of the Clash, which they've doubled down on here, where they want to have that, I guess, moving kind of plastic wall of intel, something where they can look around the corners and see if they can get the first spark, but it still gave the weakness, and the weakness was on the backside that was exploited in the 1 versus 1. Again, 1 versus 1s, they're risky. Whoever is able to start popping more heads on the day is the one that's gonna take it. In the previous map, we saw that a lot of it was FaZe, and here we're seeing a lot of it is TSM in these situations where that kill allowed obviously the push inside from Achieved, and then the swing round against the other two that was suddenly under intense pressure because now they have no one watching that back line, and it just all sort of collapsed and crumbled. So it's less of a focus on that risk. Cameraman is a bit later to get himself all the way up, but he's going to take a similar stance and vantage point as TSM kind of reconvenes and resets themselves on this approach.
So what we saw the last time around is that Cameraman on that Clash was playing from below, from the first floor at the initial moment of the round. With that, basically told TSM, you're not going to pass through this hallway. You need to go through the top floor. And as soon as they decided to commit to that, oh, this is going to be an aggressive peek right here. Bolo's going to run out of ammo soon. Airjab, however, will be placed down to make sure that they're not going too aggro on the hands of FaZe. But I was going to say, him playing on the top floor now is going to be enabling TSM to try and play from the bottom floor or even in the middle.
Look at this. Merc and Achieved, they're looking to try and pinch the bottom of the blue stairs here. They're digging themselves closer and closer to the site itself as the other three alleviate the pressure up on the top, blowing open the wall. They're going for a more aggressive round the back adaptation here. They're making sure that they have a bit of solidity somewhere else in the map, potentially to draw some eyes away, as they did previously around the backside of the mezzanine, or just to get that early pick. And it's huge rotation, huge bits of momentum. Achieved might even try and dig his way through onto the site here. If he just swings left and entirely pushes their way through, they've been able to dig themselves into such a close position. And look at the TSM bodies. An entire reshuffle, an entire replacement. They've realized where the push is, the pressure is. There's a grenade over the back of the bar with Jaeger being the only man holding on. They have the verticality so they can respond quickly, but it's a massive adaptation and change here from TSM.
It's a giant rotation coming through, actually. Achieved is going to be trying to push through the blue stairs, and right now it's only one member left on the top floor. Cyber is in a good position. He needs to make this shot slam, but he's going to be unable to do so. And the site is now under control of TSM right here, and they're going to get that plan down. 45 seconds soon on the clock, and there's no verticals to play with here. They're not going to be able to try and cancel this one. This is a round that TSM's to lose right now.
Gotta give credit to the call there. They saw that the site was pretty much empty and said, why face it? But now they've got to see if they can meet the marker. There's Clash and there's no more Clash. Dropped on the opposite side, leaving just Bullet inside the fireplace with big angles, no more. TSM have themselves the 4-2 split.
Went for the 180 out there, but decided to not go for the gunfight with the Ash, but get the man in the bar, because that would enable the second member that was still alive to potentially push up. Unfortunately, though, they will not make it stick after a great call from TSM to go for the rotate all the way to the basement, send some people up from blue, and then make sure you take the site from fireplace, because nothing was holding that one off. Just that one member that they managed to shut down quickly. And right now it's TSM's time to shine on the defense, and Kitchen Dining will yet again be the first site to go. As the mirror gets 6 picked out, it's the Frost that will make her entry. And that is often when these Frost mats are at its most effective, when the 6 pick is the one that introduces her.
It's able to bite as soon as you get those quick entrances. And I guess we've got to throw our minds back to the early part of Coastline, which was FaZe's attacks, and which were very good attacks. They were able to try and find the loose threads of TSM and start to pull and start to find those weaknesses. And I'm curious to see if they've got the energy. As you can tell from the player cams, they found themselves a little bit battered back. They had what they thought was a very early swing on momentum, but only being able to successfully take
there we go.
the same side, thank you, twice in a row. That's a bit of a morale taker. That's a bit of a shake-up. This is their moment to have a bit of a refresh and say, okay, our attacks, we pulled even before. Even isn't good enough on Chalet. You got to be better than even. You got to be and doubling down on what TSM have just been able to do to you. But if TSM finds success on 2 different sites, they've already had themselves a better time on their defense.
That's it. FaZe have only been able to win a round on Kitchen Dining. That is the site where TSM is starting off their defense as well. And while hoping here for FaZe then, if they want to be coming back into it, is that they will be able to win this attack, because you do not want to start off on a loss straight away, because that means that, well, their first side is a success, and now they're going to go up to the second or tertiary side to try and find more. Drones are being used, but they're also being taken care of, and as Merc is very aware of the fact that Library is going to be the point of ingress, it seems like, actually, the mezzanines right here, K9, but he managed to get the entry frag nonetheless.
Merc drops one, is waiting for the next to come around the corner as Achieved goes inside 2, but they've lost their sledge on top. They've lost a lot of their soft destruction. They've almost lost Bullet as well, who has to pull himself back down the blue stairs. There is some drones coming from the top and the bottom. He's going to push aggressively and try and find the fight. He's concerned about a second double down on Mezzanine. Geo is on the shoulder, has some support, but this is the main concern now. FaZe want this top floor. They want to lock it off, and you can see 3 different FaZe players are trying to coalesce, as they usually do. Is Merc going to lean in? He's been very good at this, trying to find some more aggression. Bolo opens the door. Merc gets shut out, though. Cameraman finds himself a double, smokes off a little bit of movement and rotation, but realizes he's not safe where he is. So backs off, heads back up to the top floor, and a minute's gone. And they've only just got themselves an even count, but look at the health on Bullet and Cameraman.
2 players there on the attack, very low on HP, but the fact is it is still a one-shot headshot game, and that's all you need to do is get these headshots. As Bullet does exactly that, Geo will go down, and we're finding ourselves in a 3-on-3 situation now where FaZe have the 1-man advantage. But there is still going to be vertical. Bolo is still above, and he has the opportunity to go for the flank, as he does exactly right now, moving towards the fireplace stairs, actually into Library for now, just holding tight for a little bit, seeing if they would find out about his position as Charla chips away the HP of the 1 member that was still full.
Well, now they're aware of where Charla is, but Bolo's going round these big, grandiose steps on the backside. If he goes uncontested, we can see that a lot of the dedication has come from underneath. There it is, and there's a diffuser, the perfect reward. There is one coming up and screaming around blue stairs. That's going to be who Bolo finds himself in a fight with next. Lets himself on the close corner, drops it, and TSM put themselves 5-2 up and put themselves so much closer to taking revenge for losing their map.
Now, this is what you should be afraid for as a FaZe fan, because they win their first round. The first sight off the get-go. That means there is now a couple more sites there is the opportunity to go to as the NA team, and Bar Gaming will be next. Now, if they win this one, it could be game over for FaZe in this map. Because then there will be 4 more rounds where they are guaranteed to have the opportunity to go to both Bar Gaming and to Dining at some point in the half. So you gotta make sure, if you're FaZe right now, that you're gonna be shutting them down whatever the cost may be, and make sure that you let them bring it all the way back again towards Kitchen Dining before they have the opportunity of locking out their 6th round. You do not want it to be on any other site than that, because if it is any other site than that, you might be screwed. To say kindly.
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 TSM, closer and closer to getting, as we said, a little bit of revenge and pushing us into our 3rd map, the 2nd series on the A stream that may be finding itself in that situation. It's all the way with these teams. The change that's now on the board. Look at this attempt at controlling the players that are on that defense. You've doubled down now, the Jackal and the Lion. We said they were so good with the information before. They're feeling a little bit weaker now. They're feeling that this bigger play space is one where TSM is having more of a free roam. TSM is still well aware of the drone game that was bought on them before. They're bringing the Vigil, they're bringing the Mozzie, they're bringing that control and and that lockdown of what FaZe does so well. Here, though, they've got to demonstrate what NA does so well. And they've got to show why this site in that region is so big and why FaZe shouldn't have attempted it. Well, it looks like they might be setting up for something fast, that's for sure.
Now we've got a couple of people down on the library balcony now, and that means that they will be taking control of that anytime soon. Astro and Bullet looking to take control. Smokes are going in. The E1D will pop as well. Second smoke as well, but Souls will go down, and that means the diffuser now will be dropped. And the second man goes in. Cameraman trying to go for that plant. Will there be anything to try and deny? Merc is missing the shots to go, and aggressive Pachala is going to be staying alive and denies that diffuser from going down. It's Astro now will fall. TSM. Round number 8, and they're cheering in the background.
Yeah.
6-2.
There's that NAL energy.
There it is.
As soon as
they have been training for this their entire stage.
That's it. That's
sports year.
It's what you wanted to see. The way that this stage plays out, the two teams are looking pretty much directly at each other, and NAL,
the Bravo stream as well.
And I think that's the thing. Yeah, the Bravo stream as well. It's a loud vocal region, and we talked about this earlier in the first game on the stream. That was Latin America versus EU, and it was NIP with energy that filled this amazing space, and BDS, they're not a high energy team. TSM in the first map won. Now obviously they're on the back foot, they're struggling to get themselves into the game. It makes sense that they're a little bit beleaguered, but this is what NA fans are wanting from their team, and this is the energy that this room calls for and deserves, because you've got to match that fire and ferocity. And if you lose yourself,
I'm afraid of all chat.
I'm not.
After the first Zets that came out round
I'm sure the producers might be, but...
Either way, 2-6, and well, TSM, as I said, as a FaZe fan, you do not want them to win their second defensive side, because that means you might be screwed. We're at that point now, and we're only 2 rounds in the second half. So there's still 4 more opportunities here for TSM to close it out. 4 more match points they can try and secure. And as the echo gets brought out, it's a little bit of extra information. We are going to master bedroom and the office. Now, if you remember, this was the site where FaZe chose to go 2 times in a row, and 2 times in a row they went so aggressive, so unnecessarily aggressive outside the building, near library, that they lost their lives every single time, and they would find themselves first in a 1v5 situation and afterwards in a 3v4 situation that TSM of course played out like they normally do. So as FaZe, there's literally nothing you can let slip anymore. You need to be flawless and a little bit extra than that.
A little bit extra, and well, when your energy's at the lowest, they still haven't pulled for the tactical timeout. They didn't call for the conversation. They didn't want to, I guess, break up the momentum. They think that they can get the response. And that's a lot of bravery when you're 6-2 down and you're heading to a fresh site, a site that you've not attacked before. Maybe that's why they think they can take it. Maybe they're hoping they can lock off the tertiary site, the weakest site that TSM have technically bought, in that it's their third choice. And then they can have a conversation and sort of build around that. Because if they can't take this, well, then they're just going to have a moment of, we've got that momentum, but now they've got themselves back on a site that they wanted as the opener. There's a Matt ready and waiting for an entrance here. This might go unchecked. Bullet is testing the waters above, more concerned with that, and I guess that attention might be what bites him in the foot in just a second.
And it's always the question, of course. Saw some Frostmets out there as well. FaZe need to make sure that they have the information that we praised them before. Because if they don't, they might get 1 or 2 legs stuck inside those welcome mats, and TSM will be more than happy to take use of that. Make sure that they can maybe win that third site. And surely they're not allowed to. They would have, like, they struggled so much in the likes of FaZe, and now TSM able to win their second, now going through their third. If they take it down here, it's a very well-deserved victory for them.
Selma to open the soft for a bit of pace there and allows him the rotation as a thing. I don't know if the explosion opens up stuff around it, but look at this pressure. Around the back of Merc, there is an echo that's got to pop up, and he does. Sprays round the side, doesn't quite get it. Was too lost in the source. There's the catch on the man on the window, but suddenly it's a 4 versus 1. Now as they find them, or 4 versus 2, even as they find themselves in this situation, spraying over the top now, It's this 4 versus 1 lockdown. They have more than enough time to go and get Bullet back up if they want to bring themselves to a full strength. You said they've got to rock a Flawless to do it, and Steadily Achieved is going to see if he can battle back through. But a sliver of health is all he's got now. It's yet again this situation of getting him back up.
Yep.
The cross angle was there, and FaZe have themselves another round.
The man on the roof will be shutting him down as he moves into Piano. Having the perfect line of sight on the doorway, they're able to shut him down. However, now the pressure is going to be really on. This is when we head back to Kitchen Dining, the site that TSM managed to win in their very first defensive round. And even if they don't do it now, there's still 2 more opportunities for them to go, either here to Bark Gaming. Which one will it be? Where will they close this off? If they're going to close it off.
I mean, they've got a fair few rounds to do it, but FaZe have opened in the best possible way without needing to have the conversation. They've got themselves set up to build upon a success, and it was a very well-played success. This is what they can do, is those read weaknesses and execute. They saw that the hold was sort of around here, and there wasn't anyone on the immediacy, and it takes a lot of courage and the ability to jam yourself in.
To rush twice in a row.
That's it. That's exactly what I was about to say, especially after they just tried that same thing on Bar and entirely imploded. They go, we can make it work the second time, and they found success. That's a pretty big morale swing.
Maybe TSM was like, surely they're not going to rush for a second time after we just shut them down. And you know what? That's exactly what they did. They went for that rush, but surely they're not going to do it the 3rd time in a row now, right? Like, you would assume that FaZe is going to be trying to slow this one down, given how much is at stake and how difficult the attack is going to be. Because yes, you can find yourself a lot of angles from the west main entrance, but you're also exposed to a lot of these angles at the same time, so you gotta be careful. And this FaZe here deciding to go for the top floor clear first. We have 1 or 2 around Library. We have a couple of them that are looking to put some pressure down from West Main as Bullet is opening up onto it. And we even have drones all the way in the basement. Let it be for flank watch or for a potential late rotate, like we saw TSM pull off as Bullet gets the first kill.
Well, Gio is gone early here. He's been such a big player throughout the tournament, but hasn't quite found his way into Chalet as of yet. Luckily for him, all of the rest of the roster has been able to step up into the mantle of trying to destabilize FaZe. Achieved is in a much more aggressive situation, waiting for somebody to get, I guess, surprisingly close towards these windows, but it's the smoke and the cover and the movement around the top floor that is going to be FaZe's point of ingress. They're marking out the territory that they want, and as we've seen them go before, they sort of slice chunks of the map off. They're making sure that they have that above. Okay, now we can enter onto Bar and try and apply some pressure down on the other side. A very long arm and a very big throw from the Thatcher to start to let this open up, and a lot of trust there in that Thatcher's accuracy.
I managed to hit the shots there as Merc is taking a bit of damage from the Goyo shield that has exploded on top of the piano. Have to dig himself in very deeply now, and his FaZe is trying to take control of Office. Might find himself stuck very soon. The ERC-7 is active, and a drone is waiting for him to deactivate, but it doesn't seem like they will be aware of his exact position, and that means he is going to be a very, very big risk here for FaZe and their setup.
The C4 is prepped here just on that bathroom window because they know FaZe likes to be opportunistic. But look at this. The man behind the man behind the man.
Oh!
Souls drop Cyber as he goes for the C4 swing. That puts them in a very tough situation. It's a big blow as Bolo gets the cover and 1 more. Swings round, but there's still 2 FaZe bodies pushing him. He's trying to lock down the other that's entered from the split there as the cover is off on the window side. He wants to get aggro, but doesn't know that Cyber's gone for a long rotation, dropped through the wall. As Charla is holding on to the best of his ability, 30 seconds, and they net and lock down the kill. There's the swing on the man, can't quite get the angle, but they know where he is, and those pings are consistent. 20 seconds to drop their way down and try and lock themselves inside on the site itself. He's gonna go and swing and try and take the first initiative. Does, gets it, goes back round to the wall that's popped open, but knows there's one on the back. It's Cyber though, who's able to lock it off from deep, take the trophy, put it on the wall, and put 1 more round on their board.
And there were 2 more Inox scanners left for the Jackal there, but decided to not use it to save some time, because you just lost one of your members in Fireplace. At that point, you need to be in Trophy to make sure you set up a crossfire with your teammate. Exactly what happened there. FaZe shut down the Kitchen Dining hold once, but they're going to have to do it again, as TSM is going to be running it back. Let's see if they're going to be a bit more successful with it this time around. It wasn't a rush that landed FaZe the win. No, it was just a methodical clearing, making sure they had all these crossfires, and they also had the scan down onto Bolo, who, whoa, was a big pain for the team as he shut down 2 players himself. But made sure that that wasn't going to last long, and as FaZe is going to go and have to attack yet once again. It's TSM that are setting themselves up for yet another defense, knowing they have 2 more opportunities to close out this map before they go to overtime. But overtime is not really a place they want to go, because there is a lot at stake right here for TSM, because they're already a map down. That means that if FaZe Clan, under any circumstances, shouldn't happen, but if they do somehow manage to pick up the match point here, pressure will really be on, because TSM could lose their first life already at the very first matchup they play during these group stages.
So FaZe found themselves over the group stages going into OT 3 times across the board, and were able to win 2 of them. TSM didn't see it at all. All of their games were locked out in standard play time, standard play space. Obviously, most of them were successful. 2 losses even again on Club and Cafe. They were still within regulation time. So this would be a first for TSM. They've not had a problem closing out maps throughout this group stage, throughout this tournament yet. It's just trying to, I guess, stop the build-up of energy from FaZe. Yet again, Bullet is looking to dance around and put danger on the bottom side there, as Merc and Bolo have got themselves in a much more aggressive hold for now. This is the hold that they found success with before. Merc was able to batter off the pressure that came in across the board. They swung into the approaching FaZe Clan members.
Something they have to make sure it's not going to happen. That's Cyber with the entry. They had to check on track and able to pick up the first, and now the scan on the second as the drone spots out, but Bolo will find a response, and Geo hiding behind the bar, knowing they have this equalizer right now. It's going to be very important to stay alive, because if he dies as well, that's suddenly the whole roam play gone.
Well, Geo's under a little bit of pressure now. You always play a dicey game when you go a bit loose, because FaZe have an ability to find you, and you can see Souls. He's looking from above, but he hasn't quite been able to get it yet. And it would be surprising if they did rotate a bigger operator, but they don't even need to, as Bullet sprays through and Charlotte instantly gets one back. Cyber is gone. I was going to say the Sledge might be able to have that impact, but he's removed from the board now steadily. TSM are finding these quick responses on the other side of the maps as they're losing opportunities in one section. They're able to punish FaZe, who lose focus in another. We talked about the hyper-focus of FaZe and how sometimes it can become a bit of a problem. They get a bit blinkered by the play that's in front of them and what they feel like has to be their next objective. Here it's led by this Jackal. They know where Goyo is, it's Bolo, but he's going to head himself a little bit further away now. He needs some solidity. There's a big rotation round to the back of the windows. Bullet's going to apply some pressure here from the opposite side, maybe even dig himself underneath.
Yeah, that's what I assume he's going to be doing. It's especially what they need. No, actually, finds himself on the side of the kitchen window on the outside, of course. Might be going for a rappel up, as they might still be dealing with a potential player on that top floor, whilst cameraman is also rotating around. FaZe seem to be in a bit of a, well, discussion, because there's not much time left, and there's 2 or 3 different pushes going down at the same time.
That's the big problem. They're trying to work out where they want to make themselves a point of ingress, but they're entirely different situations. They finally found themselves coalescing, but Charla cuts the first down. He swings into the site. There's the response that TSM needed. 2 people that can just watch themselves as the final swing comes around the backside. Has to stick it, can't. And TSM take themselves the map.
It was a 2-on-2, right? Or was I...
It was a 1-on-1. 2 players were down.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So 2-on-2 with both ones down there. All right. So I was going to be like, why do you not go for the plant? Like, but of course, it's a 1-on-1 situation in that case. There's almost no way you're going to be able to pull that one off. Still, was the only way it was going to be able to potentially win that one. Somehow stall out enough time right there. But it is TSM that take the win here. FaZe, they fought back, but they were being traded on too much in that final round to really grab an advantage from all the kills they were able to put on the board. And that means we will be going to a map number 3. And the question is going to be, who's going to take that? Like, it is so close. We have first FaZe take it, and now TSM.
Well, we're going to have a very quick break before we find ourselves back on the desk, and then the final dance on Cafe. See you after these messages.